Restex.
Of our Worldly Caliber Pathfinder RPG. For those of us who are just tuning in and have somehow managed to miss the first session, we are playing in an alternate universe where we assume that the Empire of Taldor never fell and dominates most of southern Avistan. Its servitor state of Cheliax, Taldor. We're picking up after a night's rest after the party, who is en route to Kadira for their own nefarious or otherwise. They fought some wolves, they dealt with some crazy old halflings, and we will start with Van is the first person to wake up for our little roleplay warm-up here. Van and, well, all four of you, inside of this magical tent that the merchant Mercutio has brought in his magical bag of wonders, essentially to sell all across Galarion. Each of you has your own private bunk, which is essentially shrouded in sort of like a sphere of deeper darkness, so no light penetrates. Pug Mahone wakes up and hears a little voice in his head asking him to come outside the tent.
Okay, so Pug Mahone wakes up and hearing this voice is like, what the? But he's decided that he went to bed last night as a human girl.
Child. Yeah,
a human child, female. That today he's going to get up and look more like a human male because he's got a plan in mind for how to get across the border. But trying to race is more complex than just he figures that since Lucia already knows what his true identity or his race, that the others will find out eventually anyway. So he kind of hops out and pulls his hair back a little bit, and then kind of takes on more of a male human child gait. Puts his shoes on because this is a halfling that has soft, waxed feet, no hair on him, and he walks outside.
All right, you step outside and you find the halfling Mercutio you've been traveling with is standing around a sort of makeshift campfire he's put together. There's not a whole lot of wood in the region, but he's got enough in his bag of wonder to make a fire, essentially. His vastly oversized German chick in terms of Clifford the Big Red Dog size is just kind of sheepishly watching him with his head. Mercutio approaches you and he says he's a little worried about getting across the border, especially considering there's an Asmodean priest traveling with the party. He wants to know if you have anything up your sleeve, any plans, any special ideas like this to get you across the border.
Good morning, Mercutio. I think that I have a plan, and I think we have with us this Asmodean oracle, which nobody really wants to mess with. And will certainly set off a stir, but trying to hide them won't help us. And we have somebody who claims to be of Chelish nobility. And
he nods in agreement.
And that other thing who looks like he could at least look really fearsome. So my plan is this. We are carrying a noble hostage, a hostage exchange to the court in Kadir. So as an act of goodwill, the Cheliax nobility brings one of theirs to the court to show their
a sort of sign of goodwill.
Right. And I will be the child of this house. And of course, Lucia will be the adult member of the house. And the Asmodean Oracle, of course, will be there to show to make sure everything is done correctly and all the agreements are correct, because everybody knows that Asmodean oracles are, men of their
Very
word.
law and order.
Very law and order, and may the gods help you if you break that law. And then this other dude, he will act as the bodyguard. But what I need from you is we need to rig something up on top of your, that's like a what do you call it? One of those things that royalty sit on top of when they're being carried from one place to another. So the Lucia and I will need to be sitting up there
On top of his dog, he asks. He kind of
Yes.
cocks his head. The
Yes.
dog begins to whine a little bit.
It says, so I'm sure that you have something in that your shop of many things.
Shop of many things. I love it. Mercutio nods and he starts to like mull it over a little bit in his head. He tells you that he's sure he can figure something out, but he wonders if you'll be able to get the rest of them to go along with this. You guys obviously come from groups with different moral values, and who knows why half these people are even in the region and whether or not they want to support the rebellion that's going to kick off in Qadira. Do you think you'll be able to persuade them?
I think, Mercutio, that I already gave you the opportunity to back out of bringing them along with us, if you recall, at the bar, and you did not seem to care at all. So we are stuck with them now.
He kind of like nods. He tells you he doesn't know spies are everywhere in the Empire, and you never know who's working with who. So when you see somebody who's just blatantly advertising, I am from Cheliax, I am a loyal servant of the Empire, it's best to keep them close.
Right. And we shall keep them close. Now, Mercutio, one thing you must know, and I look around to make sure nobody else is around, I am not a part of your rebellion. I support it, certainly. I support anything to bring down Cheliax and all slavers of our people. But I am on my own quest. And I cannot stay embroiled in yours, especially if your path should cross or should diverge, let's say, from that of the others. So
Mercutio looks a little forlorn at this. He tells you that the rebellion, the Eagle's Feather, needs all the help they can get, and he'd really appreciate it if you'd help out, but he's not going to force you to do anything. There's enough slavery in the Empire.
Right. Believe me, I will not give you up, and I will certainly do everything in my power. But I have bigger fish to fry.
He nods in understanding. And now let's switch over to our Trollkin alchemist. Joe, Ennerling wakes up and there's a bright flash of like purple and green light just above your head in this like vault, well, not a vault, like a sphere of deeper darkness that surrounds your bunk. And you see a couple of sprites have materialized out. One of them is dressed in scale mail and has a funny looking curved sword and his face is veiled. The other one's dressed in more like common what you'd see in the Empire, wielding a spear and the shield, and they're like dueling back and forth, laughing as they go. They're not trying to kill each other. They're obviously like, when they would make a lethal blow, they intentionally miss and they laugh it off. But they seem to be like, as they're doing this, they're flying closer and closer to your face, trying to get your attention.
Okay. Do I recognize these sprites?
You do not. They just look like your average everyday sprite, which is not anywhere near average or everyday, but you don't recognize them as individuals now.
Okay. I'll look up at him. I'll ask like what are you doing here, little forest spirits?
Ennerling does speak Sylvan, right?
Yeah, he does speak Sylvan. He speaks all the languages that he was allowed to have.
Okay, so in Sylvan, these sprites do they just kind of like giggle and say they're playing at war like the rest of the world, and one of them like flies down and he taps you on the nose with his little toy scimitar, essentially, and a little like uh, almost like a hole in the side of the tent appears, and you can look out and you can hear from it, and you see that Pogue and Mercutio are talking, and you catch the last little bit of their conversation about how Pogue is not here to help with the rebellion, and Mercutio is kind of upset about that. You get the feeling that like you knew there was always something not quite right about this little human child that was following you around, and now
I may have a low wisdom score, but I have an 18 intelligence.
Fair enough.
We can put 2 and 2 together. We just don't know where we're going to put that 2 when we're done with
yeah, more or less. So you catch, like I said, the last little bit of their conversation. You can hear them. They can't hear you. They don't seem to react to like a hole in the side of the tent. The sprites disappear.
Okay.
Van points out not to mention that the little halfling girl, or rather little human girl, now looks like a little human boy.
Yeah.
So what do, Joe?
First thing I probably do is I pick up one of the wolf corpses left over from yesterday and like take a bite out of it like an apple.
Okay.
And I'll walk outside. And I guess I'll just cut right to the chase. What are they talking about? A rebellion? Like, what are you two talking about? What do you mean by a rebellion?
Mercutio kind of nods and like he pulls his sling staff up from the ground and he jabs Pogue in the side with it, just kind of like goading you on to answer him.
Good morning, Mr. Enderling. Good to see you up, and it appears that we do not need to worry about feeding you this morning. Excellent. Well, you know how it is, the story of people trying to free their people and to find happiness, and I'm sure you've heard the stories of halfling slavery and the failed rebellion, and you know, everybody, there's always talk of war, there's always talk of rebellion. And I was just telling our friend here that I was not into any involved. I would not be involved in any possible rebellions, whether there was one going on or not, or whether he might know of one or not. That I was merely here to serve as his guard, just as you are, and to find my way. So that is what he means by rebellion. Surely you have problems in your own part of the world where there's, you know, people that need to be free. Is that not so?
I don't know about halfling rebellions. I'm sorry to say, my little gender swapping chum. But I do understand having a lifelong enemy, and I do understand the need to not want to be involved in someone else's problems. But what I'm more concerned about is why Mercutio is part of a rebellion and he's dragged us in on a money-making venture, or under the guise of a money-making venture. I didn't sign up to be a part of a rebellion. And I'm going to look at Mercutio as I say this.
Mercutio tells you that he kind of like, as he says this, he starts scanning the area, scanning like little, like when the breeze blows, he'll look in that direction to make sure there's not like an invisible something or another moving around. And as he tells you more, he keeps his body kind of turned towards his tent, knowing that there's a Oracle of Asmodeus and a member of the Cheliax nobility just right next to you guys. He tells you that he's not sure, and no one can be sure in this, where the spies are and who is loyal to the Empire and who isn't. He's sorry to have misled you guys, but he's working for a group called the Eagle's Feather. They're about, like I had said last session, about 20, 30-ish years ago, the province of Andron tried to rebel against the Empire in a war that's being called the Eagle's Folly, where pretty much all like dissidents in the region were crushed by the Chelish military. And those that still wish to fight are retreating to the Taldor province of Kadira to form little like pocket groups. He's disappointed that someone who he thought might want to be a member of the rebellion has turned him down in such a way. But he looks at you and he says that he's heard that the men of the North are made from strong and noble stock, and he says that we could certainly use all the help we could get.
You don't have to explain this all in person, but I'll sit down and I'll tell him that I like flattery. But if you need help, I can help you. Tell me about your problem, and I'll like sit down next to him.
He begins explaining how the Empire just kind of how they tread over the low class, how in like the Chelish region slavery runs rampant. Pretty much the common man's just tired of having a boot on their chest, and they're trying to overthrow the Empire themselves and not be treated like second-class citizens or in some places slaves. While all this is going on, let's switch to our two Chelish members. We'll do our warm-up for them together. Papa Emeritus II and Lucia LaCroix, you both wake up around the same time. You find you're alone in the tent. Everybody has left. The door, like it kind of, like a tent flaps kind of not totally shut, but enough to where you think that you two have a certain degree of privacy. Lucia knows that somewhere in Mercutio's massive inventory of stuff he's gathered, he is carrying the Libris Mortis, and she's been tasked by a little awakened rat lich to find this Libris Mortis and bring it back to him. Papa Emeritus has been sent to Gadira to handle the little sparks of rebellion that are starting in Kadira. Rumor has it that a cult following Serenre called the Cult of the Dawnflower is behind it. You two wake up and realize you are the only two people in the tent.
Good morning, Papa.
Good morning.
Today is going to be a fun day.
I suppose.
Papa Emeritus still has that, not necessarily shoddy, but one-trick hat of disguise that Mercutio gave him to appear like essentially a Kellish peasant, as opposed to his normal, like, flamboyant is the wrong word, extravagant, we'll say, Asmodean attire with the corpse paint and the big hat and the flowing dark red robes.
I am curious with the plan with Rufio?
Mercutio is the merchant that you guys have been following.
Okay, Mercutio. I am curious, Mercutio. So during the night, did you think of a plan how to hide your appearance from the border guards?
You want to ask Mercutio this?
No, I am just asking Papa how he is going to be doing the magic to get past them.
I just plan on hoping this hat of disguise works.
As long as you play the act of a commoner, it should be easy enough.
If I must.
Well, if we are to fulfill our superior's will in this world, we need to do sometimes the unfavorable task at times.
Yes, I suppose.
As you guys say this, the tent flap kind of like out of nowhere, a pretty strong wind picks up and it flaps open, and Mercutio is standing not necessarily right outside the door, but he's pretty close, and he kind of like sticks his head in the tent, and he wonders if you guys will ever wake up and join them for breakfast.
Me and my friend here, we were just talking about how we were going to fix our dilemma.
Mercutio rolls his eyes and turns around, not waiting to see if you two follow him.
Yeah,
And
I follow along.
Does Papa Emeritus follow along?
Fine.
You guys step out, and Ennerling and Pogue are sitting around a makeshift campfire. There's a little cook pot sitting on top, and you guys can like smell bacon and sausages and these kind of things being cooked. Mercutio looks over the party, and he tells you guys that in the next couple of hours, you'll be hitting the Kadiran border. With the recent uprisings, it's sure to be guarded, and there's no way we're going to be able to walk a halfling such as himself, what with the recent, he kind of like falters as he says, unpleasant trees, not to mention my giant dog, the dog, like, as it roofs really loud, the like, everything starts to shake a little bit in response to Clifford, the big red fantasy German Shepherd, essentially barking out, and he nods to Papa Emeritus and Lucian. He says it'll also be hard to get a member of the nobility and he air quotes pretty hard, clergy across the border without a lot of questions being raised. He wants to know if anybody has any plans on how we might be able to do this.
I have.
Me and Papa, we came up with a plan. With your item that you gave him, as long as you play the part, it shouldn't be much of a problem for him to pass being a commoner.
Papa?
It shouldn't be.
I have a better idea. By the way, good morning, Sunshine, and good morning, Tall, Sullen, and Skeletal. How are you today?
Good. Today is going to be a fun day.
Madam Lucia, rather than pretend that we are who we are not, especially some people who are so easily recognized, why do we not use you as you truly are? And then the rest of us just merely change our roles.
Excellent. I could, with our employer permission, the story could be, I hired him on, and his cohort of guards to allow me to travel from one part of the empire to the other side safely.
But guarded by an 8-year-old human?
Well, if Poe choose not to be one and look a bit more older, maybe like a young adult, or what would be like a young teen, it could be possible for him to fill that role.
I am 3.5 feet tall, my friend. But allow me, Lady Lucia. If instead of calling you Lady Lucia, I was to call you, say, auntie or mother, and to pretend that I am of Cheliax nobility and a ward of yours, and that we are on a delegation exchanging hostage to the capital, would anybody dare question us as we come through, especially with a member of the clergy with us?
For nobles to trade children to each other as a source of I cannot think of the word.
I believe they call it cultural exchange.
Yes, cultural exchange, to make sure we don't backstab or do anything to
so that we may, of
harm.
course, bring greater understanding to each other's empires or each other's capitals.
Yep, having a priest to make sure all of this goes as planned, it's perfectly normal to have priests to guide these things. Even the priest of Arastiel and Abadar, if you've seen them in public, among them, it's quite common to see them tending the heart. And it's not that much different for a Asmodeus priest to go through this legal business. You know how us Asmodean like paperwork. At the word.
Every time you bring up, he feigns signing a contract with an invisible pen in the air, and he tells you guys they're probably. He tells you that Hogan himself had talked about using old bag of bones here, and he kind of like roughly rams his elbow into his dog's rib cage, which is about the size of his entire body. The dog kind of whines in response to this. He says he thinks he can whip up some kind of magical carriage or something befitting such a royal as your house at Lucia.
And then Pogue looks over at Mercutio with a very hard look, and he says, "Of course, Master Mercutio, no Cheliax would have a free halfling."
And he says that if he has to play the role of the slave, he has to play the role of the slave, and there's nothing he can really do about it.
Well, as you know,
he suggests if you guys would rather he seems a him hero sized, and he could pose as sort of a traveling mercenary using his knight like a normal sized person might a horse. You guys could pose as like somebody crossing the border while the rebellions make a little gold, things like that. He's totally willing to try your plan if that's what you want, but he says he would feel remiss if he didn't point out the plan where he doesn't have to pretend that he's a slave, and he glares at the Asmodeans as he says this.
Yes, but doesn't it lend the truth to the lie even that much more, Master Mercutio? They will not look over your disguise as a slave. They will see you as a slave just because the clergyman is here. So all the better to play the role that they wish to see.
He sighs really heavily, and his shoulders kind of fall. But he looks like he'll do it. He's resistant, but you can tell it hurts his pride to have to pretend to be a slave.
I know, my brother.
From my experience, to back it up.
And the more outrageous, the more likely they are to believe.
Yes, having a priest and a political exchange with a priest among us, it is more believable than us going with any other plan.
Now, Auntie Lucia, I say, getting into sort of character a little bit. You have the proper paper.
Let's see, and come up with the paperwork with the time when we get there. So I would make a linguistics roll to come up with the paperwork. So
Mercutio suggests if you're gonna too close to the border.
Okay, so
you never know who might be watching.
Okay, so let's see. If I remember how taking 10 and 20s work, so as long as I take my time, I could take 20 to
forge this document.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say you could. You guys aren't threatened right now.
Then I can give them. Can I help them out? Use my +4 bonus.
I don't see why not.
Okay, so taking a 20 with that bonus, it would be a total of 32.
Okay, duly noted. We have a 32 on a linguistic check to forge these documents. What exactly do they say?
It would say that me being of House LaCroix, me and the priest accompanying us, he is to make sure that the person, Poe, he is to be exchanged for a person on the other side, or what would be the appropriate language for for this type of thing.
Exchanging members of the royal family as hostages.
Right. And
Yes.
that we are to be given all consideration and to not be delayed or deterred in any way.
So if
All
I
of this sounds fine for you Outlanders, but how are we going to explain the Northmen?
You are clearly an exotic bodyguard, my friend Enderling.
What do you mean?
Mercutio informs the party that he says that it's not uncommon for Taldan lords to hire Ulfin as personal bodyguards. We can explain it away that way.
Also, generally, when it comes to VIP and noble houses, we generally like to have exotic or unique hirelings to show off our power and influence, and just for their unique talents.
Are my kidsmen that exotic to your lands?
Yes.
Well, certainly to Kadira.
Yeah, for your appearance and talents as well.
Kadira is indeed a long, long way from the lands of the kings, so you wouldn't see a whole lot of Ulfin men out here.
Master Enderling. Growl.
Growl?
Give me your fierce look.
Let's get at 20.
Ah!
No.
Successful already.
Paul.
Oh my.
Paul. So I am just thinking outside characters. So for the family connection, so it would be if it's aunt, and then Paul would be Mike. What would be the role nephew then?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know the royalty much better than I.
I am. I have a problem in person, not in game, trying to remember all the name for within the family tree for
aunt and nephew.
Yeah. So nephew. So nephew Poe. Today is going to be quite interesting. We are going to be playing our roles. I hope both of us can fill our role.
Yes. And remember, when I look at Papa and I look at Lucia, that you people of law and order have agreed that no harm shall come to me.
Don't worry. My word, it is golden.
Priest of Asmodeus, and he notices that you're not wearing your magic hat that he was so happy to give to you in good faith.
There you go.
So I reluctantly pull it out and put it on while scowling.
No, take it off. Take it off. Get that makeup back on. Give us your full fearsomeness.
You want that?
Today you are not just a priest of Asmodeus. You are the priest. You want the full regalia.
Yeah. I can do that.
Today production is going to be quite the great show for us. Me being the leading lady of the show, leading my aide to the Papa being the priest to make sure the show go as planned.
Auntie Lucia, the least we say, the less we say, perhaps the better.
Correct.
Mercutio nods.
So, Master Mercutio, I'm sorry to have put you in this position, but may we have appropriate accoutrement from the store of many things so that we can
Mercutio begins like shuffling over to it, and you hear the sounds of a lot of like various bric-a-brac being thrown about from chests and the like, and eventually he comes out with what looked to be like a noblewoman's dress from Cheliax made for like a little girl. He hands it to you.
No. I'm a son.
You are a son. He goes back and he sighs loudly, and you hear more things being thrown around. You hear him swear in Halfling, and then he comes back with a like nice coat and breeches with Asmodeus's holy symbol on one shoulder and the Chelish flag on the other, and he sighs and he hands it to you like as if it's like on fire and he wants to get it out of his hands as fast as possible.
And I look at him and I kind of lean in and say, if it pains you to be a slave, nobleman.
He nods.
It is not every day you get to pretend to be a noble.
No, absolutely not. Shall we be off?
Yes,
Mercutio looks at the party and he asks if everyone's ready to go.
Yeah,
Henry is quite tired of sitting here and scheming.
Nephew Poe, try to enjoy the benefits of being nobility for a day, even if it's even for part of a day.
Even if you work for Cheliax, says Mercutio with kind of disdain in his eyes.
And I kind of like feign like stab in the side, kind of hurts me. So
he chuckles.
All right,
and he begins to move over to his tent, and he takes his sling staff and he like taps it twice on the ground and then touches the tent. And before your guys' eyes, lavish carriage, and he does the same thing in front of Stavian, and Stavian shrinks down from being the size of a house to being about the size of a horse. The carriage begins to like the stuff that would attach the horse to the carriage rises up from the ground, and it begins to like the bit goes into Stavian's mouth. Stavian whines about it. Mercutio gets to be in like what would be the driver's seat of this carriage. And
no. We must be grand. We must be grand. Can we not have something that sits on top of the dog as he is?
On top of the dog. Mercutio sighs, gets off of the dog, and the GM's going to roll percentage dice to see just how grand we can get here.
How about we put the horse? What is the fancy horse accessories that you can put on them?
Come on! Would Chelish nobility come across many lands with one horse?
Let's see. It would be probably.
It is below me as Chelish nobility to come here as one horse. I tell you.
Using my character knowledge, I would probably have the wagon and the horse if we're going to be using one, or at least two.
He looks at you and asks if you have a second riding dog.
I actually have the mount spell.
Oh well, that changes everything.
So spells I can have 2 mounts that last for 2 hours each.
No. A large dog, a very large dog.
Yeah, so would you
can
say
mount create a very large dog? It can't make a like humongous dog, but you said make he's like the size of a horse.
Well, you said the dog. You said that he's
the size of a house.
The dog's the size of the house, right?
And it's right Clifford. Now, Mercutio has transformed him from Clifford size to essentially horse size to pull this carriage.
So now I'm like, put him back and put something on top of him on which we can sit.
Mm-hmm.
Mercutio, he sighs and he kind of like slams his staff into this carriage, and the carriage, as Stavian grows back to the size he was when you met him, there's an elaborate like blanket thrown across him, and you see a little I believe they're called howdah, like what you see
yes.
room for not quite all of you. It's big enough to support 2 people. He
Yes, and we know
slams
who
his
those
swing
shall
staff
be.
down, and as he does so, like rope ladder cascades down from the side of the howdah. And he bows and, is this good enough for you?
Using my character knowledge, would it be good? Would it meet the Cheliax? What would be the normal Cheliax standards?
Roll knowledge and ability.
Of course it would. You're outrageous.
Yeah, so 24,
You just-
natural 20.
Natural,
20.
yeah, it's great. You get the feeling that it's not. You don't see stuff like this in Cheliax. Obviously, you would see it in places like Osirion or Vudra, like far exotic lands where people ride gigantic mounts. And yeah, you get the feeling that this is going to make you look super extravagant.
Right.
Yeah.
Pogue looks at Lucia and says, Auntie, remember, it is not how nobility actually behave in Cheliax that is important. It is how people think they behave in Cheliax. And that is what we give them. We give them the grand Cheliax nobility.
Yes, let's try to be a bit pompous, but not too pompous that we are outside of our ego.
In this case, our pompousness also is our defense.
Yep. It is.
I would give all of the meat in the world for a longship right now.
Master Enderling, we are asking a great favor of you. Are you ready?
Mercutio looks over the whole party as you say this. He looks back at the Oracle of Asmodeus, who's been quiet this entire time. Just, do you have anything to add, oh unholy one? Stare at you.
He says as he unmutes his mouth.
Yeah.
No.
Nice.
And you will play your role.
Yeah. Also, getting an actual 20, it would be appropriate for Cheliax character. They generally like to be quite the show off for what they can actually get with their own money. So,
it's very important that in Cheliax, if you have power, to show it. As far as the natural 20, the natural 20 has been factored in.
Okay.
So the disguise, it is as good as we are.
Given unlimited resources and a natural 20.
Given unlimited resources and a natural 20, yes. So Mercutio, he clicks his tongue, and the dog Stavian begins just loping towards the Qadiran border. Mercutio reluctantly hangs his head and starts walking alongside his animal, and he just kind of looks at you guys and just, well, if we're gonna do this, let's go do this thing.
I'll walk out in front. Proudly.
Nice.
Glad I'm not on top of some stupid animal.
So a couple hours pass. I'm correct to assume that we're going to have Lucia and Pogue's characters are going to be the ones riding in this thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
All right. So then that means Papa Emeritus and Enderling are walking in tow. Let me... The board has changed. I make a couple of last-minute adjustments.
If both of you want to ride a mount, I can summon it for you.
No, thank you.
No. Less simple.
Simple is good. So let's go ahead and roll initiative, guys.
Okay.
18.01. That's so weird.
Oh, yeah.
17. Not too
Where
bad.
the hell is initiative on the sheet? Oh, here it is. Sorry. Oops. Sorry, let me do that again. It's a 15, but where's my character?
One thing I don't get about roll 20 is the points or the fraction of a number.
That's for the tiebreaker.
Oh.
So, all right. So I rolled, but since I don't have a token select,
I didn't do something. Is that right?
right? If I had a token, see if I'm supposed to click a token, and then when I roll initiative, it's supposed to put it into the initiative tracker.
So,
Yeah.
well, I don't know how to use the initiative tracker, so I just haven't.
No, well, never mind then.
So I've
Yeah.
got you down as 15.
Yep.
Anyway, let
It's
me
not a difficult
slide.
task.
Old player map. There's just a lot of stuff to scroll through.
You're
You are
high
here.
above Avistan.
Haha. There we go.
Okay. By the way, did my perception earlier pick up anything from inside the tent?
Not really.
Okay. The sooner I know what they're about, the better.
Did I get all four of us? I did, didn't I? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so after a couple hours, you guys reach this bridge. There's a little more than a creek, not quite a river flowing under it. And on the other side of the bridge, there are 3 men in Khadiran soldiers' uniforms. As you approach, the one you assume is the leader, he guides his horse. You get the feeling that this horse, like when it's not necessarily being like told to go somewhere so much as it's going on its own. Like you guys can see when it's hooked to the ground, like spark approaches, and he holds up his hand and he tells
Before
you guys,
he says anything, I yell down, "Slave boy, approach!" At Mercutio.
make a bluff check. Mercutio will as well, but he doesn't roll a d100. He's not that cool. Much rather roll a d20. I can cheat if I want. I'm the game master.
Make Mercutio as awesome as you want him to be.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Mercutio approaches, and we're going to put it on the initiative at Joe at the top. Mercutio begins to, like, stammer what you guys have, like, the plan that you've enacted. He passes the papers that you guys forged to this guard.
Then I tell
It
him,
doesn't seem like it's
"Silence!"
really going anywhere. It's on,
So I
because
tell,
we don't know where this is going to go, I'm going to put it on initiative starting with Joe.
right. Okay, so I tell, and then when Mercutio starts to stammer, I say, "Silence!"
Joe, what do you do?
Paper.
What do I do?
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm just going to stand there and look tough. I don't really care what these people are doing for the most part.
All right. So then we'll go to Donald.
Okay, so in character would probably make sense to greet the person at the bridge. Halt! Who are you? And I
He looks
look
up at you with a lot of disdain as you say this from the back of his horse. The horse kind of like it stamps the ground like angrily, and as it does so, the sparks that are coming from its hooves intensify. You can see kind of like the eyes of this horse as it does it. They turn like a fire red and yellow orange colors kind of as well.
Let's see. So, do you know what this creature is? Would it be what would be the appropriate role?
We'll call it knowledge of the plains.
Okay,
I
cool.
might take Arcana too.
Okay, knowledge. I'm going to do Arcana because I'm have a better modifier for that.
Okay.
So 14.
14. Fairly sure, but you know that like Khadira and farther east, there's a much higher concentration of genie kin, and you assume that this concentration also applies to animals and such. And it looks like this horse has a little bit of like blood from the plane of fire coursing within its veins.
So it's safe to say this mechanically it would be a augmented horse of some kind with a outsider influence on it.
It's not a horse.
You assume it is definitely not a horse.
Okay. Let's see, thinking in character probably, let's see, to get along the bridge quickly, me and my my nephew, we are on important business.
Roll bluff.
Well, we. I hope I will. I will.
Super
12.
The guard, he looks up at you, and in a really thickly accented Kidiran voice, he asks, a member of the Chelish nobility would be doing so far from Megorian in this backwater part of the empire.
You cut out for a moment.
Oh, I'm sorry. The guard looks up at you and he asks what a member of the Chelish nobility would be doing this far away from Megorian in this back corner of the empire.
I came here on official business, and then I would begin to speak the appropriate lingo for what we are doing. Me.
Okay, sounds like another bluff check then after you're done flavor texting.
Yeah, me and my house, and I say another house, and the party that we agreed to exchange house members. The appropriate house. Link 23 for bluff.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad. He tells you that he wasn't informed of such a thing, and he begins to he picks up the papers that he's been given and he looks over them very he isn't necessarily stammering as he talks, but you can tell you've completely caught him on the back foot. Mm-hmm. And let's pass to Van.
Okay. So everyone, silence. We do not need to talk to these people. They need to see what we have done, what our mission is, and they need to let us move on. Isn't that right, sir?
Sir talking to the guard?
Yes.
Okay, roll bluff.
This is a pretty good, out of character. This is probably a good, this would be a good...
You can let us through now.
You just crit. Okay, yeah. The guard, you say this, and he looks up and he gets kind of his chest inflates. And how dare a child talk to him in such a manner? And kind of behind him.
I look down at him and I say, it is better not to stake your reputation on this one, my friend.
He begins to nod and he tells you that normally he'd be more than happy to let you guys through. However, what with the recent uprisings, the Kadiran border is in fact closed.
You would close the border to official business from the very tops of the kingdoms.
He tells you it's not up to him.
It's an irate 8-year-old, but seems to have, right? So he's this, almost ready to throw a tantrum, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How dare you? Auntie, did you hear
I
him?
want my mommy.
How dare him?
Yes,
he begins to hole his hand up and it's he.
Now what are we supposed to do? Now what are we supposed to do?
It's not up to him. It's up to the satrap in Kathir. If you would please just hear him out. It's not on him.
The satrap
explains that it's the orders come down from Kathir that we can't. That according to the emperor in Opara, the capital of the whole empire, the borders are closed until such time as throughout. And he says he hates to ask, but he looks over at and Papa Emeritus and the gigantic dog standing before him, and he tells you that will head up and put a stop to what they're doing. He'd be willing to not report it.
You want us to do your work for you?
But let me give you a little more because you did crit. Everybody make a perception check.
Okay, I quit.
God damn. He sees the like shimmering outline of an invisible person standing like in the back corner, and out from invisibility comes, not in the water, armors. He's got, where the rest of them have scimitars, he has this quarterstaff, and he comes up and he whispers into the head guard's ear, and then promptly goes back to his post and flickers into invisibility. But Donald crit, and I can't just let a crit go. What do I want to do?
Okay, how about my character know Kalish, so if they were speaking Kalish, could I overheal?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you that. That's feeding the players what they want, I suppose. You hear in Kelish, this mage had said something along the lines of how the mine has been overrun and it won't be long before these rebels reach the Kadiran border. The head guard, like, he starts like looking around, like looking at his men, looking at you guys, getting kind of nervous. Let's pass over to Sarah as she unmutes her mic.
Okay. Really, at this point, Papa Emeritus is just kind of sits back, let another peasants interact.
Tommy. Okay, Sarah. You're
Sorry. Go ahead, Sarah.
So really, he's probably just watching and watching peasants interact and waiting to see if he needs to step forward right now. So I'm probably just holding action right now.
All right. So then we will pass. Everybody make another perception check.
on that one.
No.
You were warning me about then natural ones.
The dice have giveth and the dice have taketh away.
The random number generator.
Mercutio, the RNG have giveth, I suppose. He points in the direction of the party, and everybody hears a whisper in their ear. Like, basically what Mercutio is saying is, we should agree with whatever these guys say and just go on about our day. And then the head guard, he notices this because Joe nat ones, and he like
What?
he just someone nat one. We have to do something terrible. We can't let the crits go forever.
Okay, so how about...
He tells Mercutio to come forward, and the mage reappears. If I can get his token. Go, token. And the mage holds up his hand, and as he does so, Mercutio is lifted into the air, and all these like various magical knickknacks are pulled from his person. And then you see the mage like stop and look in the direction of you guys, and his eyes close for a couple of seconds. Then he whispers something in the head guard's ear.
Is it possible for me to know what the caster is doing?
Knowledge Arcana.
Okay. The one time that I'm playing a wizard and I'm actually get to use these things.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
16. What do I know?
Okay. So you know a little bit of telekinesis on Mercutio's part. Now it looks like he's casting Detect Magic in your party's direction. He stops and he whispers something in the head guard's ear, and the guard looks down at Mercutio as Mercutio like is sat down and kind of flops onto the stone bridge, and he looks down at him and up at you guys, and the head guard says that his mage informs him that you guys are not being entirely... We go back to the top of the initiative at Joe.
How do I feel about this?
You had to get the natural one. We were doing so well.
I'll move next to the halfling. And I will. Do I want to do? Yeah, I'm gonna make. Oh, 1 second. I'm doing something. Going to make an intimidate check, and it's not very good.
Holy crap!
It is not.
This is what happens when you use charisma instead of strength for your intimidate checks. I'm gonna tell them that we're crossing.
Out there at the end, Joe.
What? I cut out there at the end. I'm gonna tell him that we're gonna cross this river, and unless he wants to become one with the river, we're going to cross it.
He looks at you with just like shock that you would approach him like this, and the horse looks at you in the same way, and his eyes flare up with fire and all this. And the guard tells you that he's still willing to overlook all this if you guys would simply consent. He looks over, he sees a cleric of Asmodeus and other quote unquote like loyal servants of the empire, and he says if you guys would just go put out this little rebellion, he's more than happy to forget this ever happened. Of course, if you refuse with all the magic items that you're carrying, he's sure that the trial when you guys are taken back to Apara for being members of this rebellion and carrying magical goods to the rebellion would be swift and your execution painful.
This is a let's agree to the man's term. We do not need to make this any more less than pleasant for us.
Let's pass to Donald if Joe's done.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Okay. Let's accept the task. It is better that we take the path of least resistance here. And I look to the party to get a yes answer.
Does anyone want to say no to this?
I want to say, what do you mean by put down the resistance? What are your terms?
Yes, give us more details.
I look at her, thank you.
He dismounts his horse and he tells you guys that he doesn't care what you do as long as the rebellion is put to a halt. They've held up in a nearby mine. It's not the entire rebellion, but he explains that all over Kadira, these little, like, essentially fires are springing up all over the place. He doesn't care as long as they stop being rebellious, essentially. He doesn't care if you kill them. He doesn't care if you persuade them. He doesn't care if you sell their souls to Asmodeus himself. And as he says this, he glares over at Papa Emeritus.
And for this, we will gain free passage through the land.
And for this, I won't tell my superiors that you're carrying a bunch of magical items into a war zone.
We will speak to these people. And we will tell them to stand down.
Technically speaking, it is still Donald's initiative, but
okay.
Talking is a free action.
Okay, so from the consensus, everyone agrees to deal with this rebel group.
No, not necessarily.
Does anyone other than Joe disagree?
I disagree, but depending on what the terms are. So here's my thing. I'll just out of character. You can. I'm not selling them out, but we need to get through, and so I'm not gonna go and put down a rebellion. But if I can get them to stop the rebellious actions where they are, then
The guardsman is fine with this. He doesn't really care what happens as the rebellious people stop being rebellious. If you can talk them out of it, or talk them even like into being a little less loud about it, you get the feeling that he would agree to that.
So if we make your life a little better, basically is what you're saying. Take this worry off of your shoulders.
More or less, yeah, you get that's the gist.
I'm still on the fence about it. I've been lied to by the party. Well, not the entire party, but Mercutio and the gender-swapping child has lied to me about things, which I do not take kindly to. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still hired muscle. So if, I don't care if they're gonna try me. And well, I'll deal with the rest of that on my turn. But
okay, so I will finish my turn off with let agree to the man task. He says to us to deal with them. So this is a win-win situation for us. I hope you all listen to the wisdom being said here.
Then let's pass to Van.
All right, so I look down at Enderling and I say, Master Enderling, you have served well, and your duty is to protect this caravan, is it not?
Yes, my duty is to. You have paid me to protect this caravan, but you have lied to me and drugged me into something I don't want.
So, regardless of what you think of me, I'm
not going to say what. I'm just going to say that this entire thing was not a part of the agreement.
Right. So that may be. However, everything else I have said is true.
I have no doubt about that. It's just that the 1 foot crossing the line is still a foot crossing the line, in my opinion.
And are we to deal with that here on the bridge or elsewhere?
Well, we're certainly not going to deal with it later, considering this is the part where it's all come up.
Any kind of checks you want to make, Van?
Any checks I want to make? You mean like a persuasion check or something? Diplomacy?
Anything like on your turn in terms of a dice roll before I pass it?
I'm pretty much in agreement to go and to deal with them one way or another to lessen the thing, but my interest is in getting Enderling to agree without blowing everything up here. So I don't know if that means there's a check or if I just pass and we let him role play and we figure out what we're doing.
We probably just pass.
Okay. Yeah,
Sarah, do you have anything you want to do?
No, I'm fine continuing on with the plan.
Then we'll go to Joe.
Okay, I'm going to tell Mr. Border Guard here that if you make demands of us, these people have hired me, I am a third party, I am outside of this. If he wants to make demands of us, this matter, if he wants me to deal with it, he's going to have to do something to make me want to do it. And the incentive is not going to be, we're not going to try you, because frankly, I don't really give a rat's ass.
He laughs at this, and he tells you that all across the Empire, from what he's heard, it's not uncommon for things such as you. And he begins to, he starts paying attention to you for the first time, and he sees a ugly trollkin, and he, make a perception check. You get the feeling he's as he looks at you, he's kind of looking down at you as he says that things like you are used all over the Empire as muscle, and he's sure that if this works out, he could maybe put a word in with his superiors, and we can see what we can do from there.
He's looking down at me. How do I feel about that?
You feel like doing your job, Mr. Enderling?
I feel like doing a job. I will tell him that as long as I am well compensated for the time spent giving my superior, superior combat expertise, as well as I am well compensated, I will do this service for him.
He nods in agreement and gets back in the saddle. He moves off the bridge, and the mage, everybody make a perception check.
21.
Okay, now everybody make a will save.
Okay.
Now, is that just straight? A minute.
25.
He crit again.
Where are the will saves? So they just...
I'm not
Oh, that's
sure.
an at 20, yeah.
I have a feeling I am wasting all of my natural 20s when I actually needed them.
Abilities?
So do we get everybody but Van? I think we did.
I'm trying. Is there a way
Trying
to
to
do
find
it
it.
on the
Defenses.
Okay.
Oh,
Thanks.
so you're using the...
Yes,
It's on the far right.
Yep.
Okay, so you guys see the mage from a little bag the size of a coin purse hanging in his waist. It opens up, and 4 mirrors about the size of his head. 5 mirrors, I guess, about the size of his head come out of this bag, and they begin to float around him. And he taps each one of them in succession as they come out in front of him. And you guys see that as he does this, the first one gets tapped, and you can see a bird's eye view of Papa Emeritus. The second one is Crucio. On down the line. Yes.
I'm going to do a spellcraft roll to see what these spells are being cast are.
Okay.
So 13.
13. You think that these mirrors are magical in and of themselves, and as you see glimpses of bird's eye views of you guys, you get the feeling that these guards are scrying you.
I inform the group.
Donald, you also, I should say, you see the one that that is hanging over your head. It kind of glitches out a little bit as he casts it, but the mage seems to not pay it any mind.
Let me get her character name. Erdwin. This situation is not turning out for us the way we want to. Let's just do the task.
Why are we still here?
Yeah.
The guard tells you that, of course, you realize that certain precautions have to be made in these times of trouble. And as he says this, he shifts back, and you can see that he's kind of a little bit of the fire has come back to him now that...
Slave, move on.
Bluff check.
I want to sense the guard to learn if there's a relationship between him and the halfling.
No one pays Pogue any mind, and Pogue gets the gist that his lie is it's going fine. Everyone believes it. And then we have a sense motive from Donald. Is that correct?
Yes, the guard between him and the halfling Mercutio. So
you're not entirely sure. You get the feeling there's a little bit of bad blood there. You're not. You can't exactly meets the eye.
Okay,
and
so
as you're thinking about this, the guards all the mage disappears again, and the lead guard he and his horse back up, and they tell you guys you are free. Does anyone have anything else they want to do on this bridge?
Leave. That's
Leave. Got it.
Wait, so we're going to the mines as he
Yes.
say leave? Okay. Cool.
Mhm. He doesn't say you're free to go. Like, okay, this quest is done. You're fine. Go wherever. No, he's not doing that.
That what I thought.
So you guys, unless somebody in the party wants to linger, you guys move forward and you get about an hour or so away from this bridge, and then as you do, like, you get farther away, Mercutio, you see he picks his sling staff up telekinetically, and a good 20-30 feet away from him in the sand, he scrabbles, being scried, watch what you say.
Right.
And then he goes on to scrabble, mage incompetent, Lucia scry failed.
Wonderful.
So, Lucia, what does the scry mean?
I would tell them what the scrying spell do. So, if I remember how it works,
CCTV for it's
For the
CCTV
fantasy world, yeah.
Yeah. So
If they're being watched, you assume you're being heard. These guys are going to make sure that you guys don't just run across Kadira as fast as you can.
if we don't do the task, they asked of us.
Then they will know.
Yeah,
Right.
things are going to be pretty bad for all of you.
How close? Can they tell what we're doing? So, if I'm whispering to Lucia, they can hear it.
Make a knowledge arcana check. Anybody and everybody who's got knowledge arcana and wishes to attempt it.
So another 18, and then my knowledge of the spell.
Can I aid?
I don't see why not.
Yes.
So out of 4.
Yeah, if you get over a 10 to aid another.
Did he?
He hasn't
no,
rolled yet.
I didn't
He
roll.
rolled. No, he didn't roll yet.
Yeah. So 18. So
Oh.
it would be
Is
a
that
You rolled a
one?
d10. You rolled a d10.
Oh, yeah, he
Oh.
did. Okay.
We'll
Phew.
double it.
No.
No, roll again.
Shit.
Okay, it's better. You got a 6.
Yeah. Well, I
But
mean,
that's
this would
not
be,
10.
you're making the skill check. You're not just rolling a d20. So if you have
Yeah.
knowledge arcana as a class skill, you would.
Okay, how does aid another work? I just roll.
You
You
have
just
to
make-
roll the check, and you have to get over a 10, and you add a +2.
Oh,
Right.
I roll the check.
Yeah.
Yep.
I roll the check.
Yep.
Got it. Still 6. What the fuck? Okay.
Okay, so that's what we get for arguing about it. He doesn't get what he wants. So the people who did pass, let's see, that being, looks like pretty much everyone but Ennerling. Well, no, everybody but Ennerling and Pogue, they know that around about a 10-foot rate of your body is how far they can see, how far they can hear. You assume they've got something like tongues cast as well, so there's no speaking in a different language to cheat it.
Okay.
You know, it also has things like detect evil, detect magic, things like that. So you can't just wink into invisibility and just, oh, where did he go? No.
How do we break it?
If I remember, mechanically a dispel magic would work on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that how the spell would work.
Just wait it out.
You could. Like, Lucia saw this mage use a magic item to cast the spell, so you get the feeling that it's not just going to last metagame knowledge 5 hours per level or something like that.
So this item, would it be
It could last for days or something.
Something like that, yeah.
So
I'm not exactly sure though.
I would assume it would last for at least a few days, at the very least, just from the item being used, right?
At least, yeah. Well, make a knowledge arcana. would you?
19.
You assume several days, if not weeks. These guys, like, there's no real like love lost between the various regions of the empire, and there's a whole lot of distrust across the place. So you assume that people are going to use like powerful magic items to watch, especially essentially mercenaries wandering around doing military work, because again, nobody trusts anybody.
Mm-hmm. The best course of action, we continue and deal with the rebels. Then I would describe the item, what it does. Effect, it would be off of us, and unless we want to wait out days and weeks, then that would cause unnecessary trouble for us if we choose to take that course of action.
Who cares? If they don't trust us, they don't trust us. I still plan on making good on my word. And I'm gonna go deal with these guys in the best way I know how.
Everybody.
19.
So pretty much everyone who's not Papa Emeritus, they see a little wasp out of nowhere flies and lands on Pogue's finger, and Pogue like leans down and whispers to it, and it buzzes its way over to Mercutio. Mercutio looks a little like offended. Out of nowhere, the wasp flies away, and telekinetically, Mercutio picks up his sling staff, and in the sand, he writes, "Just follow his lead. Sorry you got scryed. We'll find a way out of it. For now, we need to just play along."
So if he writes that stuff, they can see that, right?
But he's writing it like you see him do it really, really, really far off.
I don't see any of this.
You saw him write other stuff. You just don't see the wasp. But Mercutio's with his sling staff kinetically in the sand. He's writing it like several feet away from him.
Oh, so they can scry within 10 feet of us.
Yeah,
They can
like
see
15
within 10
feet and out. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But out farther than that, they can't see anything.
All right.
So Mercutio, he tells you guys all bring it in, and he taps his dog with his sling staff, and the dog shrinks down to the size of a normal German Shepherd. The howdah you guys are riding on like turns into a slide, and Pogue and Lucia just slide down. Mercutio breaks out a map, and I will grab it. Where is the map? The map. I have way too many things on my Roll20. Where's my map? I know I put it in here.
Sarah, I am just curious. So, if combat does arise, so what spells do you have able to be used?
Right now, I've got stabilize, spark, resistance, enhanced diplomacy, bane, cure light wounds, and hedging weapons. It feels like 2d6 damage or something.
As spells I have prepared, it is prestidigitation, light, acid splash, shield, mage armor, sleep, ray of enfeeblement, blood money, and then the additional evocation scroll that I prepared.
No color spray?
Nope. I have a lot of I have the scrolls I have: Decompose Corpse, Sleep, Detect Magic, Mage Armor, Scrolls of Infernal Healing, and then Magic Missile.
And he points to the northern region where you guys saw the circle. You guys, like, you can see that in a couple hours you've been traveling, you've been moving through mountains. He tells you that the only mine in the region is the Yodricus mine, which is down here, about a day away from where you are now.
So where are we again? I'm sorry, are
You
we at
are-
Bordia?
right here.
Where?
Did you see it?
No,
I'll do it again.
hold on a second.
Yonder. Somebody
Oh,
else. Joe sees
I
it.
need.
Okay, I have
Okay.
my token.
Anything on the map yet? This is just like a world map screen. Unless
Okay,
we're
so
gonna just split the party for right now.
okay, I guess we could have a party token where we are.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We can use. I guess Donald has
Use-
volunteered his token for what will be our party token,
Or
Yep.
use the dog.
or the dog,
Eh,
or just a little "You are here" sign.
yeah. Have my character token until we find a appropriate party token.
That's the region. He doesn't. As he begins talking like about this, he gets a little like he's trying to. He tells you that he's not sure what's going on in towns, but he assumes that there will be pockets of resistance everywhere. And without the sense motive check, you guys can know, especially Pogue knows that he's a member of this resistance. And like you get the feeling he knows more about what's going on in the region than he's letting on, but he can't say because he's being scried.
So we have a day travel time there, right?
Correct.
Okay, so
Assuming nothing happens between here and there.
when it gets to be, then use the connection I have to get about 1,000 gold for magic ink.
Okay.
Yes.
Mercutio tells you guys he's willing to follow your lead. He doesn't. He says he doesn't know the region that well. He doesn't know what's going on in the various towns and stuff. You guys, if you wanted, could certainly just head straight for the mine and see what's going on there. But he suggests it might be a good idea to get a feel for the region, see what's going on.
I am more inclined. Endringly is more inclined to go and do this job as soon as possible.
Okay.
It's
Same here.
And then what?
and then what?
And then what?
I don't know. We see where the gods take us.
Well, Master Mercutio, what is this job that you had for us? Where were we to go?
He reminds you that everybody make a sense motive check as well.
A what?
He says a sense motive check. He tells you that you guys were going to travel across the Gold Road through Kadira and from there into the nation of Kazmaron and across the entire world, just stopping in major cities and trading and making money. He says the Gold Road is the most lucrative trade route in all of Galarion, and that anybody can get incredibly rich if they know what they're doing. Lucius get the feeling that he's not telling the truth. Pogue and Ennerling definitely know that he's not telling the truth because they have prior knowledge.
I call him on it.
Okay, what do you say?
I don't believe you're being entirely truthful.
What are you hiding from us? How are we supposed to work as a group if you're not willing to share this vital information you're hiding?
Mercutio, he turns to face you two and he looks up. Make a sense motive check.
All of us?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
just-
All four of you.
Okay, I am burning up all of my high percentile roll now.
So Pogue and Lucia and I guess Papa Maris as well. He's not saying anymore because he's being scried and he doesn't want to if he spills the beans out, the Kadirian government's gonna know about it.
Okay, so I look at him kind of like I know your game, and I'm not cool with it. Type of look, with the raised eyebrow, and
Uh,
and I'm like, hold on a second, sorry. Um, Pogue says, so if we are to protect you on the Gold Road as you've hired us to do, how does this Theodricus mine alter our plans? Is that a trading spot that you were intending to hit on the way, or something else near?
he shakes his head no, and he says the only reason that he needs to go there now is because he's ordered by Kadirian forces to travel with you guys and clear the rebels out. If it was up to him, he would just make for the capital.
Okay. So
He reiterates, though, as he looks up, like, of course, I would never do anything to betray the Kadirian government, and if they've given me a task, I'm more than happy as a loyal member of the Empire to do my duty.
True. We are all loyal servants. Mercutio, once we're done this task, me and you, we are going to have a chat. And I emphasize on the word chat.
all right. So pops up. Well, he's given us a task. What we are not going to do is kill them all. You're not going to engage in needless bloodshed. And
Mercutio agrees wholeheartedly.
We are going to encourage them to refrain from bloodshed.
Mm.
And if they continue to have issues, if they continue to want to have their rebellion or whatever, and I emphasize their rebellion, then we then this swear, and then we shall be rid of our obligation, and we shall be off on our path to new adventures.
Correct. It is best to leave troublemakers with troublemakers. They tend to sort themselves out quite well more often than not, seeing who is the upper dog among the two, unless they choose to band together.
So, Papa, what do we need to do to follow the letter of the law in this, so that we are clear of our obligation to these bordermen?
Make a knowledge religion check, Sarah. Well then, you guys are really good at critting around the plot today.
The plot's going our way today, bro.
Yeah. Hey,
Yes.
sometimes
Not
you're
your
the
way.
fly, sometimes you're the windshield. Today, you guys are winning.
One of these days during the campaign, we will fail a lot of
You'll get the curse of Denny.
plot point facts.
Yeah.
My
So,
favorite.
Papa Emeritus, he knows that there's a lot of things one can do to like fulfill contractual obligations while not holding up your end of the bargain. The guard specifically said that all you need to do is make however it is you guys want to do that is more than good enough to fulfill that obligation.
All right, I disclose this information to everybody in the group.
Okay. Well, Mr. Enderling,
Yes.
is that agreeable to you?
Well, of course it is.
It seems that we must have a heart-to-heart at some point when we are not in the midst of other people's
Prying ears.
Yes, thank you.
He says
And-
overtly.
Yes, because regardless of what you think of me, I use deception for survival. Not to
All
do
right.
not, and we will come to terms. And that is my true word. Says the 8-year-old human boy.
Yeah, let's have everybody
Yeah, I
make a
doubt it.
sense motive opposed by Van's bluff.
Well, at this case,
Except for
I'm not-
Lucia. Lucia knows something's up.
No, at this point, I'm not even trying to. I mean, I'll do it, but I'm not even trying to really bluff it.
If I do choose to roll again, will I learn anything else?
There's
Yep. Tommy, when I used the blood money spell, did I feel anything odd when I cast it via the connection I have?
make a knowledge arcana check.
27.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, you get and probably everybody, like not as directly as Lucia would, but as you're casting blood money and as you're drawing from this peasant from Demgazi, you're drawing her blood instead of. You can, like, in the back of your head, Lucia can almost hear like somebody whispering, "Just please kill me," just over and over as this is happening, and you get the feeling that you might, like, there are wards in place that Rat has put in place to, like, ensure that you can't bleed this person dry, but you are definitely absolutely torturing them doing this.
Okay, cool. So I can't.
Okay, cool.
So I cannot bleed them dry, but I will be more humane how I'm going to exact how much blood. So she's not going to suffer as much.
Also, for the sense motive, I don't think anybody beat Van's bluff. So anybody who doesn't know that Van is a halfling continues to just think something weird's going on.
Yeah. So I'm torturing this poor soul to get blood. Cool. I like this so far.
But not. What is Lucia's alignment? It's true neutral, right?
Yeah, it is lawful neutral.
Lawful neutral, I see.
Yeah, as my
Spoken like a true challenge noble indeed.
Yeah, I mean, she views the commoners. They are below her, but they will serve her to advance her goals long term. And treat them with the respect that they deserve, not to throw them to the wolves.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you guys continue to talk over. You do so. The sun begins to, like, move across the horizon, and Mercutio, he tells you guys that your friends at the border might get a little impatient if we don't pick up and get moving.
Oh, I assume we've been moving this whole time.
I was too.
Did we stop?
Same here.
If we stopped, I continue going.
He just keeps walking. He's okay.
Yeah.
Off I go. Okay, in that case, you guys, can I move this token? I can move this token.
Yeah. You should. You have control.
I locked you out, Tommy.
Lock the G is a fucking GM mutiny. You guys arrive at the village of Zemio.
It's a rebellion.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think I have a map for this one. Yeah, I do.
It's a meta rebellion.
And make a perception check, everybody. I guess Mercutio needs to be here, doesn't he? I'm trying to find Mercutio's token.
Yeah,
There he is.
we see everything.
All the things. Papa Meredith's eyes go kind of like black for a little bit, and dude.
Nat 2 isn't anything.
Yeah. Where is this? I don't even see the Nat 20. Where is? Oh, there it is.
You're like somebody Nat 5
Yeah,
or less.
absolutely. Yeah. So you guys, you approach this village, and by virtue of the crit, when I say roll initiative, Papa Emeritus automatically goes first. You guys, there are 3 men dressed in the attire of, like, you saw the soldiers at the bridge. These guys are dressed a little more like quote unquote Eastern. Their faces are veiled. They're wearing scale mail. They have scimitars at their sides. And each one of those tokens that looks like a peasant represents about 20 people. They see you coming, and the 3 guys in.
This is 20 people.
Yeah,
and these are the
20, and the next one is like.
Right,
that's
and this
20.
is no. This guy right here is one of the soldiers. Oh no, that's
just those 3 in a line there.
Oh, those
like,
are gotcha.
1, 2. Oh, you're fine. So they see you coming, and they turn around, and they draw their swords, and they begin screaming out that the Gadirian military has sent their forces. They've sent a servant of a dark god, and they point their weapons at Enterling, and they the servant of their dark god and some strange hellspawn, and they begin inciting these people to stand up and fight, and a lot of them pick up like farm implements, pitchforks, daggers, things like this. Everyone who's not Sarah, roll initiative. Sarah goes first.
Okay.
These troops, I am picturing what would be, what would be like a Middle Eastern Arabic
God.
knight or soldier. Oh wait, so all of us will initiative.
Right, these guys are hostile.
Okay.
The peasants are hostile too, or just the?
Yeah, the peasants are hostile as well.
Okay, it's a good thing that I actually prepared a sleep spell.
All right, Sarah, you are top of the initiative. Miss Nat 20.
All right, I'll start by moving 10 feet forward and casting Bane. Okay, give me a sec.
So it's a 50-foot radius burst. So that's everybody. Okay, so I have many.
So I cast it while they're in fireball formation.
Oh yeah. Okay, so what is my DC? $10 plus caster level plus mod.
So then it's 16.
16. Okay, so starting with the soldiers from left to right, one of them passes. Fail.
That's crit fail, Tommy.
Okay, so all three of them fail. Then we'll roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 more. Okay, so one of them passes. One of them
Well, nat
crits.
20s, yeah.
So one more. So I'm gonna mark the ones that passed because everybody else has failed. We'll give them little red dots for the ones that passed. Everybody
Let's give them
else
green
is getting-
dots.
They get red dots. This is a strange upside down universe where stop means go and go means stop. But is that your turn, Sarah?
Yes.
All right, then we go to, I think, Van. Yeah, Van's next.
Yep.
Van, I put all the. You shoot
Okay.
outside your weapon range.
So it goes down after every. After that, or
Increments
it's
are like,
stack.
if your range increment is 100, within the first 100 feet, you have no negative on the attack roll. And
right?
100 to 200, it's a neg 2. 200 to 300, it's a neg 4. And you can go only up to like 5 range increments, I think.
Yeah, I believe so, unless you have items or feats that permit it.
Okay. So
Right.
if mine is 80, then I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you say these guys were armored?
Yeah, they're dressed like, think like Eastern soldiers. They've got scimitars and shields. They're wearing scale mail.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna bust out my bow, and I will take a shot at the guy on the left. Because why not?
Because why not?
Oh,
A 9 does not hit.
all right.
All right, if that's all, we go to me. These guys are going to charge Papa Emeritus.
Wait, so these. I thought we were helping the Eastern, so Eastern soldiers, or are they part of the rebellion?
You, like I said when they showed up, they began shouting that like the Empire has sent their dogs to stop the rebellion, and they point out the priest
okay.
of Asmodeus and the monster, and they assume that you guys are just like pawns of the Empire. Anyway, let me roll some attack rolls. What do I add? I add that. Okay. So these are all going at Sarah. The first one is within their threat range. So let me roll to confirm. Does a 23 hit you? Yep. Okay. So then I need to roll plus. Don't discount that 4. That 4 doesn't exist.
Oh, it does.
So, it does not. It is a lie. So Papa Maris takes 18 back. Then the second 2 won't attack. They swing and center knocks you over and they miss. The peasants, they follow suit. They carrying torches and pitchforks and things of that nature, all jeering and cursing in Kalish at you guys.
So what type of words are they using? Words. So I know what.
Oh yeah, you speak Kalish. Yeah, just go
too.
back to Cheliax, you Asmodean dogs, and just.
Oh, so more of your typical protester rebels. Oh, I see how they want to play.
Pretty much. So let's go to Joe is next.
Okay. First order of business is I'm going to 5-foot step back. And then I'm going to drink my mutagen and apply Enlarge Person.
Right.
And that's a standard action. That's all.
Okay,
Just buff
so
time.
buff
Why don't you
time.
move- Oh, okay.
You said 5-foot step back and you're in the
Yeah.
person, right?
Yep.
Okay, then we go to Donald.
Okay. I am going to be using the sleep spell, so I can hit up to 4 creatures if they
4 hit
have.
dice worth of creatures, is that right?
Yeah. So what is the hit die mechanically for these soldiers? Is it 1 each?
No, you just have to try, and then he'll tell you which ones go down.
Okay,
Right.
then I'm going to be using sleep on this group. So the DC is 15.
15.
For will.
Okay.
So.
And Bane says I take a -1 on my saves, correct? That D20 doesn't. I keep clicking the dice up here. That never happened. I gotta go to advanced roll because it's fancy.
It says -1 to attack rolls and saving throws against fear effects.
Okay. Well, this is not a fear effect, so then does a 14 break it? It doesn't, does it?
No, 15. So
okay, so then second guy.
So anything under 15 fails, and they're asleep for a minute.
So these 2 pass out.
Okay, cool.
Do I have a little sleepy thing? I don't. Well, we use.
Yeah, you do.
Sleep is a concentration spell, is it not?
No.
No.
Okay.
5th
Cool.
edition it was.
I see. Okay, is that all?
Yep.
Okay, Sarah, what are you at? Neg what?
I'm at -7.
-7. Okay, roll the fort save.
Damn.
What is your con?
What is your con score? Yeah.
What is your con modifier?
My con score is 17, so my modifier is 3.
Okay, so she's got to get to -17 before she dies. She's got to go.
Yep.
Roll the fort save. Oh. I should. This is the part where I'm going to point out nobody's done it yet, but everybody did get hero points at the end.
Okay.
Sarah, if you would like to use your hero point to stabilize, you may certainly do so.
That'd be nice.
Okay, you are stable.
Oh, come on.
Can I narrate this natural one? As you are on the ground, you hear a imp. Foolish mortal. How did you get yourself into this situation? Do you call yourself a priest of hell? How are you going to supposed to impress Asmodeus with this act?
They're talking smack, Sarah.
Somebody's talking shit.
Yeah, you hear a imp talking to you via telekinesis.
Telepathy.
A telekinetic imp just.
Telepathy.
Yep. So
one.
so you hear
That
a
one.
imp in your mind talking insults to you.
So we're going to administer a potion to Papa Emeritus for this many hit points back. 12 hit points. I guess positive energy doesn't hurt you, right? You are playing just a human.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't just like dampier you to death. Okay, initiative goes to Van.
All right. They can't all be misses, I hope. So I'm going to take a shot at the guy that's still standing up.
Okay.
23.
A 23 does hit, and he does shot.
Okay.
Where are you standing? You're okay, I see you.
I'm underneath.
Underneath 5, 10, 15. Okay, I just count in squares. I see you. Well, I don't see you, but I'm aware of you, I guess I should say.
Oops.
Thank you, Joe. Or whoever moved the token.
Me. All right. Well,
Thank you.
I can take a 5-foot step, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I take a 5-foot step, still standing next to him, but to clear, and then that shot. So, I don't really get to do anything else, right? I think that's my turn.
Okay, then we go to Joe. Yeah, welcome to level 1. Where somebody has a scimitar and crits right at the gate.
It was
Joe, you're on.
It was only inedible for due to us rolling so well, they were to get a crit.
That's karma.
Joe, what you doing?
You with us, Joe?
Right. Yeah, I'm here. I've been talking because I forgot I'd fucking turned on my whatever it's called.
We've been muted.
Yeah. It actually mutes it.
That happens. It is your turn.
But yes, I 5-foot step forward, and I'm probably just going to. I've drank my mutagen. Take a -2 to my intelligence. We're not level 2 yet, so that doesn't happen. For my standard action, I guess I'm just gonna drink my potion of shield. And then that's all.
Then we go to Donald.
Okay, so so these commoners, what type of weapons are they using?
Sorry, had you muted?
Okay.
Think of them like.
Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to use sleep on another sleep spell on this guard, and then what is left to this token here? So DC 15 for Bill.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So 1d20 plus what he rolls, which is not that number. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, so one
he
save.
is immune to sleep spell for the rest of the encounter because he crit.
Oh, and then what about the group behind it?
Oh yeah, that's right. He needs one too.
Yeah, I don't know how sleep would work on a
on a troop.
On troops. Let's see what the dice says before we think of complex rulings. The dice says they pass anyway.
Okay. What a shame. I move back behind our troll friend, and I end my turn. I am squishy.
Sarah, you're up. There are 2 people. I think I actually cut the initiative. I didn't have them move, so we're gonna say they held their actions and they're gonna now. Let's try to attack. That's your threat range.
Yeah.
Okay. So the mobs are going to stay behind soldiers. I make a will save at the beginning of each of my turns, right? For sleep.
I think we may be confusing sleep and
hold person.
Hold person is each round you make a save to break
So sleep is they fail once and they're down forever.
Let me see.
Yes.
I can look it up real quick.
Sleep
Okay.
is they are asleep for the duration, so it would be for
Gotcha.
a minute.
Okay, so for the
4 hit
next
dice
9 rounds,
creatures. The fewest hit dice is affected first. Sleeping creatures are helpless. It's a standard action to wake them.
Okay.
Uh,
Sarah, does a 15 hit you? Actually, 15. He's baned.
Neither would.
Now it goes to your turn, Sarah.
you're stable.
She got healed by Mercutio. She's at 12. There are 2 people sleeping in front of you.
have to heal up your negative hit points.
She was at negative, and then she used a hero point to stabilize, and then Mercutio.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Alright, I better cast Cure Light Wounds on myself. I'm still kind of not doing great.
Okay, that provokes.
Oh, it does? Yeah.
Unless you want to cast defensively.
Yeah, we better do that.
Okay.
Good luck.
Alright.
Your age
That's
level.
level. I'm pretty sure that was a DC 15, I think.
15 plus double the
Plus-
spell level.
So she needed a 17.
Yep.
So it does provoke. Does a 25 hit you
Yeah.
for this much damage?
Goes back unconscious.
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
You were 12. You're not back unconscious.
What?
But you
I
need to make-
have 7 damage on me still. Because that only healed me to 4.
The hero point should have put you to 0. You have 12
Oh,
hit
okay.
points.
Okay. Why am I
Yeah.
trying to heal myself then?
I don't
Can
know,
we-
but you
can we
did.
can we take all this back?
You may not, but you may roll concentration,
Alright, I can do that.
which is D20 plus caster level.
Yeah.
DC.
And it's versus the
lose
damage.
the
10
spell.
plus the damage.
So you lose the spell, Sarah.
Alright, whoops. Oh well.
Okay,
Ten-
is that all, Sarah?
10 plus the damage is for concentration and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You okay?
Is that all, Sarah?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so Mercutio is gonna. He holds his hands up like he surrenders, and he's gonna roll secretly because that's how we're gonna do this check. In Kellish, you hear. Well, everybody make a sense motive check. Who understands Kellish?
I'm still figuring out this sheet, sorry.
That's all good.
Oh, Jesus. Where's my-
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, so
20,
Donald-
22.
Lucia gets the feeling that like these guys are throwing what is essentially like thieves' cant from 5th edition back and forth.
Okay. Hmm.
Pogue thinks that like the soldier is like telling Mercutio to like throw his weapons down or he dies right now.
Okay.
It is also Van's turn.
Did I even roll?
Do you speak
No,
Kellish?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't. That's right. Are you sure they're not speaking Ulfin or
Positive.
Sylvan? Giant?
All right, well, I guess I'm still shooting
Giant.
at this guy.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. 22
All of that does hit.
for damage.
Hoot. Got it. Is that all?
That's it.
Then we go to Joe. I guess the mob's held action and they'll go at the bottom of the initiative after all.
Does Papa Emeritus does he resist being grabbed?
What do you, Sarah?
It depends on how you're grabbing me.
Whatever's closest to me.
Like to
Or,
drag you
probably.
away.
No, I mean, like, how are you grab me like
I'm gonna grab you and pull you back behind me.
If I remember, if you're grabbing someone and moving them, then it would be half of your move speed.
Right.
That's fine with me. That's
Yeah,
20 feet. I
that's
can move her
fine.
10 feet. Okay.
This won't resist being grabbed.
So
I'm
that
gonna
would
reach over
provoke.
Mercutio and
Does that provoke when she's forcefully moved?
I'm gonna have the provocation go at Enderling when Enderling moves into. Well, hang on, let me.
I don't have
like
to
how-
move. I'm 10 feet away from her.
That's. Oh yeah, you are, huh? I see.
That's why I've
Okay.
got that aura out.
Okay, so then it would provoke Emeritus, but we don't roll our damage dice for our attack roll.
Nice.
We roll plus this. 23. Get there, Sarah. Yep. The thing we rolled to hit.
Yeah.
The -1?
Oh yeah. Okay, so does a 22.
Yeah, I really don't know why I didn't know armor class.
All right, now you're unconscious.
Now you're at -1 now.
Awesome.
And if that's it for Joe, it goes to Donald.
Okay, so Sarah, how are you for hit points at the current moment?
She just went to -1.
Okay, then I'm going to move up and be using the scroll up. So effectively, she have fast heal of 1 for 10 turns. So for every
Okay.
single round, she get 1 free hit point as it regenerates. And then
All right.
I end my turn.
All right, so then this guy is going to. Oh, let's charge Enderling.
Alright, that provokes twice. No, I don't actually. I forget about that.
Okay.
So it doesn't?
It provokes
Just provokes
once.
it once. Good.
1 second. I hope everything is correct.
So moving into
That's not correct.
moving into your reach in Pathfinder.
Moving into your reach doesn't provoke, but moving through it does. So, for example, when he moved here, it didn't provoke, but going here did.
Okay. So if you're, because I know moving out of reach certainly provokes, right? But
I believe so.
Is that right?
I think.
Moving in and out of someone's reach. If you're not 5 foot stepping when you're inside of someone's reach and you're getting hit.
Okay.
And moving into does not provoke, but I have a 10-foot reach.
Right.
Because
So
he's
if you're-
large right now.
And then you move in.
Like
a 5 foot step. Like if somebody was to move 10 feet here, like this guy were to move 10 feet across, not a 5 foot step, you'd provoke.
Then he would, like, if he were to do, like, if he moved, he would provoke, assuming everyone's alive and well. He'd provoke from Papa Emeritus and Mercutio once and Enderling 3 times. Oh, is that a natural? That's a 6. Okay. 13 does not hit.
Alright. That
Then
is all.
we will try to chop him.
Armor class is
20 get there?
he takes an egg 1, that's a tie defender.
Okay, got it.
Actually, my total armor class at the moment is 21.
Okay.
So he wouldn't even.
You guys probably see the guitar like sink into. Well, you're a trollkin, so I imagine a lot of like I guess like a fatty part of your thigh or armor comes from is just so much like blubber and And Sarah, you are at 0 now because the fast
the thing that puts him over is the shield spell, so he probably actually bounces off of a shield.
Off like a magical like wall.
Yeah.
Sarah, you are at 0 after the. How long does the fast healing last?
It lasts for 10 rounds total. 10
rounds. Okay.
So total 10 hit points healed unless she takes any more damage.
Gotcha. So you're at 0 right now, Sarah.
Okay, and being at 0 means that
you can make you're staggered, so you get a move action or a standard action, not both. And if you do anything strenuous, like for example, attack the guy right in front of you, you would go to -1 and start dying.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm looking over at your screen. The guy who's standing at Enterling's like 1 o'clock should be right in front of you.
I don't know what's up with that, but I
Internet,
will.
he is. Let me try to move it again. There's my cat. Go ahead, sir.
It was weird because I heard it like in surround sound. I'm gonna try like 5-foot stepping.
So you get a move action or a standard action, but not both. So you can 5-foot step back, certainly.
Okay.
So that'd be your turn.
Yes.
All right. Mercutio is going to 5-foot step back as well. And he's going to pull out another potion and hand it to you. For that much.
All right, I will not reject the potion.
Alrighty, then we go to, I think Van is next. Yeah, Van's next.
Okay. Why this dude? And make an attack?
That what?
No. Can I pull out a sword and attack him like I'm running around?
Yeah, you can. You can take out a weapon as part of a move action.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now I should point out that if you were to go, I don't know what move speed is, but if you can end up like here, well, that's not a flank, is it?
Yeah, that's a flank. We're technically not adjacent. We both threaten him.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you'd get your sneak attack if you were there.
Okay, I'll go there. Because I can actually move 30 because I took the fleet of foot or whatever it's called.
Sweet.
And I will.
Oh.
Minimum damage. Well, you get your sneak attack as well. 25 does hit.
Yay. 5. I've been nibbling away at this dude.
That is enough to take him out.
Yes.
So these things have 5 hit points, so...
He had taken
No,
more damage.
I'd already hit him with a couple of arrows.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Excuse me.
That all, Van?
Can I move back now?
Yeah, that's fine. However much more move speed you have.
I think I have 2 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Okay.
Okay, if that's all, then it goes. If that's all, it goes to Joe.
Goes to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll 5-foot step forward. What do I want to do?
The
I'll
2
hold
other
my
soldiers are still sleeping. Okay.
I'm not gonna make this as part of an intimidate check, but I'm gonna say in common that I'm not going to attack these people, but if they come into where I can reach them, I'll tear their heads off.
They begin pointing at you and screaming hellspawn at the top of their lungs.
Okay, that makes no sense to my character.
I guess it doesn't, does it?
No.
Alright, then we go to Donald, if that's all.
Okay, when the commoners say hellspawn, my character laughs at the thought in her head. These people, they do not know what diabolical things are in Cheliax. But that is her thought. So the swarms, they have hit points, right?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, then...
If you're familiar with Bestiary 6, there's a troop subtype, which is essentially swarms for people.
Oh, okay. Okay, then I'm going to be... How would the spell Ray of Enfeeblement work on a crowd exactly?
There's not an individual target, so...
So it wouldn't work then. So I would just use a magic missile on this crowd here, so 1d4 plus 1 damage.
Oh yeah. They don't have spell resistance.
So
you ping them.
Okay.
It probably goes through a peasant's head and he falls over dead.
These commoners, they do not know they're better. They should stand down and go back to their normal lives. But this is what Lucia thinks.
Of course. Is that all?
Yes.
All right. So the one that you hit is going to fully taking the run action. I'm not sure how many squares I have. He's just going to go that way. The ones that aren't baned, we'll say, will come here, and these guys will. These guys retreat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I like violently shake someone who's sleeping, the last for a sleep spell, they wake up. Correct?
Waking them up is a standard action.
Is a standard action. Okay,
Yep.
so
this one sleeping, slapping or wounded creatures or wounding awakens an affected creature, but normal noise awakening is a standard action.
These two like at the die, and they'll both use their action to stand up, which would provoke once from Enterling.
Yep.
Does everything provoke an attack of opportunity pretty much in Pathfinder?
More or less, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless if it say otherwise, assume so.
Assume it provokes, yeah.
Pick your nose, opportunity, attack of opportunity, right?
More or less.
So every time
Pending
Sarah
like
says,
acrobatics check.
right, every time Sarah says booger, she takes damage. Is that the deal?
Yeah.
He'd screwed up direct damage again.
I see. I don't even see an attack roll on my end.
Yeah. No. I'm hand typing it in.
I see. Okay. He is. Oh
What?
well, never mind. I thought it was 60. 23.
What?
The 23 hits. Go ahead and roll.
Yeah.
I had to plug my phone in like 5 feet from my computer while it charges.
It's from me.
1 second. There we are. That's the damage.
Yeah, that super kills him.
Then I just clamp my jaw down on his the side of his body as he's standing up.
Everybody hears like a sickening crunch.
Probably take a chunk out of him.
Mm.
I'll eat it. I don't care.
He doesn't care. He'll eat it.
I think I'm a person, but when I take my mutagen, I turn into a different person. So
he thinks he has multiple personalities. Classic alchemists. Is that all, Joe?
Yep.
Okay.
Well,
then...
that was a provoke. That was
yeah, that's me.
I have a held standard action still,
okay.
so I'm not doing anything yet.
Okay.
No, he's dead, isn't he?
He's dead, yeah, but there's another guy I got it.
I can't attack him. He's not in my reach, as you can see.
So we'll go to Sarah.
All right. My screen looks very different than yours. Well, not very different than yours. It's the same. I'm just crazy. All right. I guess I'll move into attack. Oh.
He's dead. Joe killed that one last turn.
Okay, things moved because my screen is weird. All right. I'll attack then this one.
Okay, go for it. Dean does not hit.
Damn it. All right.
So that's all then.
Unfortunately.
All right, then we go to Van.
Yes, you can use intimidate.
You could.
Yeah, Joe, you just
Did I?
No.
Yeah, you could use intimidate to make them flee.
You
Okay.
could, yeah.
Okay. All right. What kind of is that an action or what?
You're attempting to persuade them to your point of view through intimidate. Technically, you're trying to improve their disposition to you through intimidate, but that's what the book calls it. We all know it means you're just scaring the bejesus out of them until they run away.
All right.
Right.
All right. So I put for my move action, I put my sword away, pick up my bow, and I say, "Y'all best run," and then I get a 17.
Okay. Let me break out the dice. I think technically speaking, it's a DC, but I'd always use the if you roll intimidate, it's opposed by a will save like they do in Unchained. 1. Oh well.
Oh. Oh.
Do so they run away, leaving just the one soldier who he realizes his comrades are dead, but he looks determined to fight on.
And so right now, I look at him and I go, right now you're leading just Jack and shit. And Jack just left.
Let her keep him alive. Once we're done talking to him, then we may be able to convince him, to convince the others to stop the rebellion for the time being.
Is that all then?
Yeah, that's
Okay, then Joe's next.
I'm next.
You are.
5-foot step. Yeah. I'm gonna yell at him that I'm gonna crush him like a walnut, and then I'm going to attempt to do so.
All right.
I realize people talked
Okay.
about keeping him alive, but Underling doesn't much care.
still
Doesn't hit.
Walnuts taste butter.
Does an 18 hit, Tommy?
Does not hit.
Okay. Oh yeah, I have other attacks. I just did a 5-foot step.
Right.
Question. So in the distance, what is the commoner's expression or body language as they see this is going on?
They're probably just like cowering and screaming and hellish.
Okay, my character enjoys this.
Are you trying to get evil?
No, my character.
Yeah, lawful neutral, my ass.
My character just enjoys what is going on. She enjoys her job a lot.
16 doesn't hit either.
Yep. And I have one more attack. That doesn't hit either.
That does not. Then we go to Donald if you're done.
Let's see. So the troop is on the ground. So I am going to.
No, he's standing up, I think.
Yeah,
He
he stood up.
stood up.
Okay, so he have a negative discomposition to us. So I'm going to use the ray of enfeeblement on him. So he have to make a. If I have to look up if it's a touch attack or not.
I have a feeling it's a touch attack.
Yeah, it's a ray, so most ray attacks are touch. So yeah, so it would be their touch AC should be easy to beat. So 15. Did I beat it?
Yeah, 15 gets there.
Okay, so make a fortitude save DC 15.
He passes.
So it takes half of this for a strength damage for a minute. So
He takes 5 strength damage.
yeah, half of it. So half of 5, 2. So
Okay.
it's weakened for the moment. Try to capture him alive. We do not need to cause any more
Is that
harm
all?
than we have to. Then I end my turn.
Okay. Let's have our guy make a will save. See if he wants to go on. The soldier surrenders. He throws his weapon down and he puts his hands up and in a very heavily accented comment tells you guys that he surrenders. He puts himself at the mercy of the Dawnflower and the mercy of those before him. Initiative has gone to open. Combat has ended.
Okay.
So I move my ass over here when I hear him say Dawnflower. And I get Joe?
Didn't catch any of that. It was all robot.
Okay, so I run over here between Oracle and him, and between Papa and him, and
Okay.
sort of get in between, and I look down at him or up at him or whatever, and I say, it's not the mercy of the Dawnflower you need to worry about. I'd keep your mouth shut if I were you about the Dawnflower.
The man, he looks down at you and he laughs and he says that it doesn't matter what you do to him. His goddess will be waiting for him in the afterlife. This body is merely a shell, and the Dawnflower will see to it that Mr. Nirvana.
Yes, but we can either
enemies of
we
the
can
faith.
we can expedite your departure, or we can make it drag out, or you may yet stay here to serve her further. So what's it gonna be?
Make that in the form of a check.
Okay, which one?
Some kind of persuasion skill.
Okay.
So what I'm getting is we're trying to talk to him and not kill him.
Right.
Okay, that was what I thought.
Might as well stick with intimidate. Oh, well, it's worth a try.
Okay.
Yeah.
He continues just like going on about his faith.
Okay, what is your name? And I ask it in a polite fashion.
He tells you he has nothing more of Asmodeus.
All
Look.
that he should have fought on and died well like his comrades did.
Look, me and my party, we want to go on to our next destination quickly as possible. I want you and me to win, and we want. I'm using lingo of win-win situation. Look, me and my party, we want you to stop your rebellion for the time being, so we can move on. You can continue doing what you do later, but once we move on, you can do your thing, and then if you die, you die. This is a win-win situation. So diplomacy roll. So
that works for me.
So this is a soldier. So he's under my rank, so I don't get the bonus then. Oh, and diplomacy, it is a class skill for me, so this is going to be quite good. So 10. So is he willing to listen to my offer?
Okay, so we'll roll another will save.
Wait, I think
I said in chat is Van, by the way.
Oh, this is a diplomacy I'm rolling.
Right.
So no save unless
when we have diplomacy and intimidation, if I run the Unchained rules where they make you roll over their will save.
Okay,
it comes out to the same math as the DC, like 10 plus half their hit dice plus their wisdom or something like that. It's just a little easier than crunching numbers when we're in social situations.
Makes sense.
In either case, the guy is unfazed. He just doesn't want to hear anything a follower of Esmond.
I try to be nice. Maybe the rest of you can have better luck.
I'm going to ask him why he keeps calling us followers of Asmodeus. I don't know who that is. I've heard the name thrown around a lot.
He looks at you and I almost want to say roll bluff, but I know you're not lying. From his, let's have him make I'll have him make a perception check.
Yeah, I've got a necklace tied around my neck with the interlocked triangles of Odin on it. I've got a silver locket around my neck. So that's pretty proudly displayed as well. Oh.
He looks over the symbol. You get the feeling that this far south, your religion it doesn't hold as much sway as his does, and he explains that he calls you like over and over like he has nothing to say to the followers of Asmodeus or their summoned monster, and he spits on the ground. Mercutio steps up between you guys and he takes his sling staff and he like slaps it against the man's jaw, and he recoils and falls over. Mercutio, like roughly, well, everybody make a perception check.
Why did I open it? Okay, I accidentally clicked that.
Actually, I have a question. Can I aid Mercutio?
If he wants to, yeah.
So what roll am I making?
Call
Bluff?
it a bluff check, yeah. So everybody sees Mercutio knock this guy down, roll him over, and begin to tie his hands behind his back. But you guys can tell, like, there's a lot of pantomime going on here. Yes, it's going to appear like this guy's tied up, but the knot isn't exact. Like, the dude could slip his bonds super easy, and Mercutio begins whispering, like, you guys can't hear what he says, but he whispers something into the soldier's ear, and then when he's done talking, he punches him in the gut. The man, like, he looks injured, but you guys get the feeling that Mercutio didn't really do anything bad to him. The man stands up, and he turns with his back to Mercutio, like he's like basically waiting for Mercutio to kick him in the butt and make him move.
All right, I take a whack at his face with my fist as hard as I can, or his gut, like a real punch.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Let's say a neg 4. Should be.
Yeah.
Because unless you're a monk, it's always treated
Have an
as
unarmed strike.
oh. Yeah.
19.
That does hit. Go ahead and small. I guess that's a D4 damage. Yeah.
Yeah, it
D4
would be.
plus strength plus a D6 worth of sneak attack because he is tied up.
Okay, 1 and sneak attack. And what? So I'm not trying to kill him. I'm just.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm making sure that everybody else sees that regardless of what is pantomiming or not, I'm like motherfucker, and I'm not with them.
Okay. Yeah, he grunts loudly as your fist, like, you find like a weak spot in his scale mail, and you like
Right.
the air, like you knock the wind out of him essentially.
So how injured is the soldier at the moment?
He could probably, like, if he wasn't tied up, and again, he could slip these bonds pretty easily. He's a little hurt, but for the most part, he could continue fighting. The peasants continue to just like cower in their little village.
Okay.
You guys can still hear them like carrying on.
Okay. You seem to be injured. I'm going to make another deal. You talk to those comrades over there and tell them to stop their rebellion, and I will heal your wounds. Promise.
Okay, diplomacy check.
$17.
Still has nothing to say to a follower of
Okay.
Deus, and he says so.
Okay, so he's tied up. I'm going to use the celestial healing on him. Look, you're injured.
Celestial healing?
Yes,
Not
celestial.
infernal healing?
No.
Okay. So you have both?
Yes, I need to balance my good and evil deeds.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to heal him using the celestial healing. You're being such a pain. You better be grateful for this, or
This
else.
would normally provoke, but he's technically feigning helplessness. So this spell resolves.
So that is not going to fix his dislike for me.
No, he just like his wounds begin to heal, and he starts like begging the Dawnfly. He begs Serenre for forgiveness that a follower of a dark god was able to like do this to him, and how he couldn't do anything about it, basically.
I'm gonna walk off. I'm gonna tell him when he says like a follower of a dark god. I know he's not talking to me, but I'm gonna still say like, well, I don't consider Njord that. As I walk away, I'm gonna start walking towards the crowd and start to be like, why are you all so afraid of me?
They recoil and scream, and in Kellish they're just screaming hellspawn, and some of them like begin to pick up their weapons. They're in no shape to fight. They're not going to not defend themselves.
That's all for my little interruption of y'all's little session here.
Fair enough. Well, did you want to make some kind of check with that, Joe?
Me? I can make a diplomacy check.
I'm going to help you.
There we are. See, look at that.
Oh no.
Okay,
Well,
maybe
Donald, you declared you were going to help. Roll the 8 another.
so that doesn't help at all.
It does not. What do I want to do? I don't necessarily.
I say it in giant by accident, and they all mistake it for infernal.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm not necessarily gonna like re-trigger combat unless like Enterling wants this to happen. But one of the peasants is gonna pick up a rock and they're gonna throw it at you.
Oh. Well, I wish I had taken the rock catching.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's gonna re-trigger combat.
Okay. Really? Okay.
That's actually a tie to defender if you get a... Well, you don't need to confirm it, but that would actually be tie to defender.
Okay. Everyone, you hear...
So you take 4 damage as the rock like pings you between the eyes. If we are restarting combat, this might be a good place to knock off for the night because we're getting pretty close to 10.
Yeah, these commoners, they are not listening to common sense. I'm trying to be nice here, but they're not making it easy.
So before like combat restarts itself and we end the session, let's start with Sarah because we haven't heard a lot of Papa Emeritus, and she's the only one who's used her hero point. The situation has gone to. This isn't necessarily a bad thing for the Asmodean, but the situation has gone to hell in a handbasket, shit in a shopping cart, as we like to say in Sedalia. You guys, you've crossed the border. You know that like you are here to put this rebellion down, and you didn't expect to get to have as much attention drawn on you by the guards. You didn't expect to travel with people who are part of the rebellion. How do you feel in character reflections, things like that, for your hero point?
I suppose I feel a little embarrassed that I got knocked down so quickly, so early on in the fight, and I was supposed to be like, I know I'm better than these people. I know I'm better. I'm probably the most noble person here, and I get knocked to the ground like in one round. That's not doesn't look good. So I'm probably a little embarrassed, but I'm gonna shake it off and pretend like it was nothing because that's what I'm gonna do.
All right, you get your hero point. Everybody else is, because you already have 1 hero point and we can't bank them. You're just doing this for fun of it. Joe, you guys in the corner of this empire. How in character reflections?
All I can say is Tyr demands justice. And so do I.
All right, fair enough. If that's all you've got, let's pass to Donald.
Okay, so today, Lucia thought this was going to be a nice, easy job. Go to the border, play our role, get past. But no, we have to deal with unreadable commoners that is testing Lucia patience. She is this close to just harming these commoners to put their place. But we will see how much carnage we need to do to put these commoners back in place. Lucia is definitely enjoying her power-up position.
Fair enough, and let's wing it to Pogue to take us home.
All right. So, Pogue said, he's saying, God damn it, why doesn't anybody ever listen to the halfling? Things would be so much easier, including the other halfling. Callistria, this is not a day of joy and pleasure. This is a day of stupid people. And I am ready to, I think everybody's going down here. It's what I want, but maybe we'll have better luck at the next town.
Indeed, this is what happens when you know the end of the session. So we will cut it here. Next video comes up in a week. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.